been a lot of injuries in sports this week. Just prayers up to everybody that did get injured, seeing that Dakota Kai, J.D. McDonough, and Apollo Crews all went out with injuries last week for WWE. DeJounte Murray tore his Achilles last night in the Hawks game. Not the Hawks game, the Pelicans game. So prayers up to all them. Hope they get well soon. That's a huge blow for the Pelicans. Like they already been struggling this season. They just lost another close game to the Celtics. So now DeJounte Murray out for the season. That's just gonna be rough. The All-Star list was announced. Some interesting picks, which we'll get to that later. Patrick Mahomes has been getting a lot of hate recently. Don't People hate to see players dominate. I mean, the Patrick Mahomes hate, it's not really justified, which we're going to get into that as well. There was some WNBA moves made over the last week, and I'm going to be talking about the significance of that and much more. Welcome to episode 31 of Weekly Sports Talk with Ed. Let me get this episode. Got to get this out. Yeah, let's get into the PBA stuff first. The PBA US Open, it started off this week. Trying to get this live sent out. Yeah, like I was saying, the PBA US Open has been going on this week. Obviously, the PBA season started last week, as I talked about it on here. And shout out to Ryan Barnes, the son of Chris Barnes, famous PBA player still playing. Shout out to Ryan Barnes and shout out to Jason Belmont. They both run YouTube channels for like the fans that can't see the whole events and how it's going on to see how teams get to the match play and get how players get to the finals. They've been posting YouTube videos showing their journeys in these tournaments. So that's cool to see. It's like you don't want to pay the prices for Bowl TV, you can go to their YouTube channels and see it. And then the way the PBA Elite League is looking, it's going to be, like I said earlier, like a few weeks ago when I did the preview going into the season, like the Storm going to have a dominant season. After the first round, Jason Belmont, he finished ninth. Chris Vi, he was in first. Who was that? Francis, he was in 17th. Cal Troop was 23rd. And then Jesper Stevenson, he was 28th. And this was just after the first round of the U.S. Open and how it's been playing out. Then Andrew Anderson, he had a really great week so far. And then the final matchup, the PBA U.S. Open, the final going to be taking place tomorrow. So I'll probably post a short about it after it's concluded. John Janowicz, he had a solid first two games. Like I said, Ryan Barnes, his YouTube channel has been cool because he's been showing him and Jason Belmont. They've been showing the ups and downs of what's happening. So Ryan Barnes, he was struggling early, but he picked it up eventually. I don't remember if he made it to that last 24, but he had been playing solid. I think he's gonna have a pretty good year. It's been some early struggles right now, but I think he's gonna be in some tournaments definitely soon. And then Darren Tang and Justin Knowles. Darren Tang, I saw his stuff on YouTube, and he was that's who was facing Ryan Barnes. Darren Tang and Ryan Barnes, it was going back and forth. Like I said, it was a solid matchup between them two. I think it even went 8 games. It usually goes 7, but I think Darren had to go 8th one because how the points had worked out. And then while that was going on, Justin Knowles, he was just dominating the other side. So, and then Ryan Barnes ended up, I think that was a different game because Ryan Barnes ended up winning that game 7 against Darren Tang. I'm really distracted right now. My apologies. Need to refocus. And yeah, Jason Belmont, like I said, his YouTube channel has been cool. It's just one guy, Cameron Crowe, just gonna call him Cam, just because it's shorter. And then he had a really good week. He had been dominating this past week, so I hope to see him in that final tomorrow. And I think it's still some other stuff that's going to take place later today that's going to determine the final people to make it for the tournament tomorrow. So I'm excited to check out those highlights. And then EJ Tackett, he put up 244 to advance to the final 16, or not, or final 24. Yeah, because it started with a certain amount. They're getting down to 24. So EJ Tackett, he had 244 to move on and make it. He just barely made it. Definitely had some struggles, but he stepped up when he needed it most. Just one thing about EJ Tackett, he's one of the quickest bowlers in the league. So EJ Tackett gonna step up when he need to. And then next on the agenda, every month I'm gonna be giving out awards to wrestlers based on how they perform throughout the month. So I'm just looking at the month of January for wrestling. That's WWE, AEW, TNA, New Japan Pro. Looking at all four of those promotions, comparing them to each other, seeing. And basically, I'm gonna be hearing out awards each month at the start of each month. You know how to do the WNBA mock drafts at the second week of each month until it gets to that point where it's time for the draft. So I'm gonna be doing this all year. Then at the end of the year, when I do the award show, it's gonna help me determine who I want to pick for each award, comparing all four companies. Now, some honorable mentions that I like to point out: Bianca Belair and Naomi. It was a different tag team I picked for tag team of the year, but Bianca and Naomi they had a really great month. They've been wrestling on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, and it's another woman that's been doing that too, and we're gonna get to her a bit later on. But Naomi, Bianca still the tag champs. They're going into the Royal Rumble later tonight, so I think they had a really good month. But it's just a tag team that's had a better month than them, and a different company that I'm going to be giving that award to. For rookies, Leon Slater, he debuted in October for TNA. And when I look at rookies, I'm looking at the time in a new company, not like they just had this first time wrestling, like first time in a new company. So Leon Slater, he officially signed with TNA in October of last year. So from October of last year, 2024, to October this year, he's classified as a rookie in my eyes. So Leon Slater, he was definitely a candidate that I thought about, but it's somebody else in a new company that's been doing some things. Now Leon Slater, he's super young. He got a lot of potential. He put on a banger of a match with Trent Seven. He had a good match with Brian Myers on Impact the other night. He's like I said, he's had a good month so far. Been having a good year so far, and I hope that he keeps it up because I think the rookie of the year race could be tight between him and another wrestler. Then for best weekly TV shows, I think Raw started off on a high. Then it was a lot of mixed views about it. Then the two episodes that followed it, like they were really solid. In the most recent episode, it wasn't that great. That's like it started on a high, in my opinion. Then it was starting to get better. Then the one heading to the Royal Rumble this week, it was just really bad, in my opinion. So I felt like that hurt them because they were doing a really great job, and I was enjoying it for the most part. And last week just hurt it. Then TNA Impact, their main problem is consistency. Like they're just not consistent enough and that's what I pointed out in my video about Impact this past Thursday. Like it was really good, but I was saying they got to be consistent with it. You have some great episodes and some not so great episodes, and it's like got to have some type of balance of consistency. Like you can't have a 9 out of 10 episode one week, then the next one is here and the lines up a 4 or 5. Like, it'd be better to show this consistency like a 7 out of 10 each week than have a 9 1 week for 1 week. But I feel like Impact, and I feel like all these companies have things that they can improve on, and I think New Japan is already improving on some of the stuff, but it's even stuff they can work on too. But I'm gonna start from the bottom up, and I'm gonna say the best promotion in the month of January was New Japan Pro. Like they had a really great month. I think they're on. The problem with New Japan Pro is that you don't have a weekly television show, but they're putting on events consistently. So it's like New Year's Dash wasn't that great, but their other pay per view, their other events, they were really fun to watch. Really had great pacing. And my main problem to start the year is that there was so many matches on one card. Like they have 10, 11 matches on one card with kickoff show matches as well. But it's like recently, over the last few months, like they didn't cut that down. Like they just did the Road to the New Beginning, which is like a 3-part thing. and then they had the road to the new beginning, which was a 3-part thing, and then each show had 7 episodes, had 7 matches, and they separated it because you had part 1 on the 22nd, part 2 on the 23rd, and then you had the third part on the 30th. So it's like they separated it a little bit, like they separated the times out. They put on great matches, like Zack Sabre Jr. He's a phenomenal wrestler. I love watching him wrestle. And then there's other wrestlers in New Japan I'm gonna talk about that I've enjoyed watching. But I think they had the best month in January. As far as best weekly TV show in the month of January, I give it to Dynamite. I think they had the most consistency in their shows. Obviously, the main event scene is not amazing with Jeff Jarrett somehow being involved, and you got MJF doing nonsensical stuff. But if they listen to my idea and do MJF and Adam Page, that could be a feud of the year without even having a title involved. But I do think AEW had a really great month, as well as Dynamite did. Collision, I'm not speaking on that. Collision isn't a real show to me. Like, that doesn't process in my brain. Like, they did like a 12-man tag team match, and I don't even know how you managed to do that on a random Saturday on Collision. But that show just doesn't process in my mind that it's an actual show. But Dynamite was the best weekly television show in the month of January, in my opinion. Yeah, I think CM Punk on January 20th, I think he cut the best promo of the month when he said, "Don't talk to me about Sami Zayn because he's not on my level." Then he basically went off on everybody that's in the Royal Rumble. That was a really great segment. And then Sami Zayn coming back next week responding with, "I main evented WrestleMania." Well, CM Punk has a 434-day title reign, unlike you, Sami. So I just find that kind of weird. Like, at least Kevin Owens has won a world championship before, and he has main evented WrestleMania twice. But if you main event WrestleMania and don't have a world title, what does it really mean? CM Punk had a 434-day title reign. So, yes, but that promo on January 20th, CM Punk, I mean, he was cooking with that promo. That was definitely one of his best a recent memory. Like, he's had some solid ones with Drew and Seth, but that was definitely my favorite one, and I really enjoyed that one. So I think that one could stick for a while. I think that could be top promo of the year for a few months, but it could be top. You never know. As far as the best return in January with Mustafa Ali coming back to Impact, coming back to TNA, because I wasn't expecting that. I really forgot about Mustafa Ali, so I was genuinely shocked and surprised when he did come back. So that's so shout out to Mustafa Ali. Surprise of the month, it's definitely Mercedes becoming winning 3 belts and getting 4. I know they awarded her the 4th one, but seeing her, like, knowing she's a dominant wrestler, knowing she's really good in ring, already having 2 titles, then she won a 3rd one, and they rewarded her with another one. So now it's 4 belts Monet. Like, that's a really big surprise, and it's not. And she deserves it. She's one of the best women's wrestlers in the world, one of the best all time. But it was just shocking to see that she's carrying around 4 belts right now, and she's carrying it all by herself. She don't need nobody. She don't need no Camille. Don't need nobody by her side. The pay-per-view of the month, New Japan Pros Battle in the Valley. That pay-per-view was really good. Takeshita had a really fun match with Kushida, who I think is in. I'm not sure if Kushida is in New Japan now, because he ain't been on Impact in a minute now. I ain't seen him. But that match with Takeshita beats Kushida, that was a really fun match. And Kushida, he can go. I'll give him that. Zack Sabre Jr. beating Hikaru. That was a fun match. Like I said, I love watching Zack Sabre Jr. wrestle. So that match was really fun. Then it was a really fun 8-women's tag team match with Mina Shirakawa and some other women. And I think Mina's team ended up getting the win, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, Battle in the Valley, it was really fun from start to finish. Even Tomohiro Ishii and Gabe Kidd, they put on a fun match. But I hated the ending because it ended in a draw. So it's like the 50-50 booking to protect Gabe Kidd, so he don't lose his title, and not wanting Ishii to take a pin there. Didn't really like that, especially knowing that Ishii would end up losing a match later this month at a different event. But like I said, from start to finish, it was fun. I gave the show an 8.5 out of 10. So far, it's the pay per view of the year, but it's only been 1 month. Like I said, these are just awards for January. The rivalry of the month in January, definitely Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes. Like, even though they haven't wrestled and they're wrestling tonight, the promos have been really solid. Like, I've said things about Cody Rhodes and not taking it back, but I do think he could. I think a heel run would do justice for Cody Rhodes. I think I'd be more of a fan of it if he went on a heel run. But Cody and Kevin, they've been cutting some pretty solid promos. Kevin, he's been wrestling even if Cody Rhodes attacking him after the match, or vice versa. So I have enjoyed their feud. And when it comes to match of the month, Leon Slater and Trent Seven on January 16th at Impact. That match started off the show. That was a really fun match. I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was, but Leon Slater, like I said, the youngest in charge, it's the reason why I have him in contention for Rookie of the Month. But he was just going crazy. And then Trent Seven, like, he doesn't wrestle a lot on Impact, so it's nice to see him get some time to wrestle. And it was just a fun match. It was building up the feud with Leon Slater and Frankie Kazarian. And it wasn't even no shenanigans. Like, it was just a straight up one-on-one match from start to finish. Either guy could have won, and neither the guy who lost wouldn't look bad. Then they showed respect to each other after the match. So that's why I've had that one in contention for the best match of the month. As far as Rookie of the Month, I think Penta and WWE had the best month. Like I said, Rookie is wrestling in a different company. So Penta, he put on a banger of a match with Chad Gable, who can't beat luchadors. Then he had a really great match with Pete Dunne. Then the promo work has been really good. Even though you don't understand what he's saying sometimes, you can tell that the aggression and the passion is there. And even the promo he did cut when he started speaking in English, like, that was really good. He never really knew that Penta could do that. So he'll put on 2 banger matches. He done had some solid promos. He's entering the Royal Rumble tonight. He probably won't win it, but I can see him being like the final 6, final 7. And he's probably going to go into a storyline with Braun Breaker, which would be really cool heading into WrestleMania. For Most Improved, like I said, this is where the New Japan stuff comes in, calls more to play. Tomohiro Ishii, because I've never been that big of a fan of him. I haven't really liked his matches or what I saw in AEW. Felt like they're really slow. And then I think this year watching him in New Japan, like the match with Gabe Kidd, it was like, okay, maybe I was wrong about Ishii in the matches he keeps having. They're not like super fast matches. I know naturally it's gonna be slow, but the pacing is a lot better. I think the matches are a lot better. I think I've enjoyed them more. And maybe it's just because of the people that New Japan is putting him up against, and AEW wasn't putting him up against the best people to match his style of wrestling. But I think it's going great for Ishii and New Japan. For tag team of the month, I had to go with the Hurt Syndicate. They beat Private Party. The feud they had was pretty solid. And then, like I said, that's why I couldn't go Bianca and Naomi for tag team, because the Hurt Syndicate, they also had a really good month. They even MVP got in the ring and they wrestled. They've been winning matches when they're teaming up. Sheldon and Bobby are the tag champions now. And like I said, they're doing their thing. MVP, he's on the mic, he's talking his talk, and then they won the tag title from Private Party. Like I said, the feud was pretty solid. Now what they do next, I don't know, but I'm excited to see what is to come of that. A female star of the month, I had to go with Bayley. Like, consistently wrestling on on all 3 brands actually. She went back weeks on Raw, SmackDown, and NXT, being able to feud with Nia Jax and being part of that, then being able to feud with Cora Jade and Roxanne Perez down in NXT. Now she's gonna be on the NXT pay-per-view that's coming up soon. So she's had a really great month. So shout out to Bayley wrestling across all 3 brands. And then NXT, I'm also considering that a part of WWE. So if NXT pay-per-view is the best one of them, I'm gonna acknowledge that next month. I just didn't pick any NXT superstars this month. That could all change next month. Then you had, for male superstar of the year, one was Zack Sabre Jr. He's wrestling all the time. Like, there's not, out of the 6 events, well, Road to the New Beginning looks like a 3-part thing. So out of 9 events, he's wrestled on every single one of them. Nobody else is doing that. Like, he's wrestling each and every time that they need him to, and it's the reason why he's the world heavyweight champion. It's the reason why when it's August and it's time for AEW, or July, whenever they do All In, the AEW is gonna call New Japan and they gonna ask for Zack Sabre Jr. to be there at Forbidden, not All In, but Forbidden Door. They're gonna, I think that comes before All In, but they're gonna say we want Zack Sabre Jr. at Forbidden Door. That, like, there's a reason for that. Then for MVP, I went with Joe Hendry from TNA. I believe in Joe Hendry. He's the TNA World Champion now. You got a concert. You got the Joe Hendry concert on Impact coming up soon. Excited to see who his next opponent's gonna be. The feud with Nick Nemec was really great. It started last year, concluded this year. Nick back on the mission to get his title, but his brother might be halting those plans. But Joe Hendry for a great month. Shout out to him. Now I mentioned this in the intro. It was about Patrick Mahomes and the hate that he gets. Now let me read off these stats. There's only been 2 quarterbacks to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. One of those quarterbacks is Joe Burrow, who Patrick Mahomes also has a win over. So Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes are 1-1 against each other in the playoffs. Then you have Tom Brady, who beat Mahomes in the AFC Championship with the Patriots, and then beat Mahomes in the Super Bowl with the Buccaneers. Now, I don't like referring to it as a one-on-one thing, but let's just take these stats. Tom Brady is 2-0 when he faced Patrick Mahomes-led teams. Burrow is 1-1. No other quarterback has been able to take down the Patrick Mahomes-led Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes is a 6-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, a 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-time Super Bowl MVP, a 2-time MVP, a 1 Offensive Player of the Year in 2018. He has a 3-1 Super Bowl record. He's won one of those with Tyreek Hill, and he's won 2 without Tyreek Hill, and it's going back to the Super Bowl this year. He just went back-to-back, beating the 49ers and the Eagles, and his first ring came against the 49ers. He has a 17-3 playoff record. The only person he is not beaten in the playoffs is Tom Brady, who that's going to hurt Mahomes in the GOAT debates. And then this past season, 3,928 yards, 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, and a 67.5 completion percentage, the best of his career. Now, obviously, it wasn't the best season of Mahomes' career, but the completion percentage was a career high. And Patrick Mahomes was great this season. Now, people don't want to acknowledge that because I'll look at the interceptions, I'll look at this and that. But the thing is, the Chiefs, obviously, they have a good defense, but Patrick Mahomes is top of the top. It's the reason not many players win MVP and Offensive Player of the Year. Patrick Mahomes did that. And Patrick Mahomes Patrick Mahomes gets a lot of hate, but he's 17-3 in the playoffs. It's not a lot of players that can do that. He hasn't been able to beat Tom Brady, and then the one time that Joe Burrow beat him, he got his get back and beat Joe Burrow. So Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, 2 of the top quarterbacks in the league fighting for MVP each and every year, aren't able to beat these Patrick Mahomes-led teams. Because Patrick Mahomes outplayed Josh Allen last week in the AFC Championship. He outplayed C.J. Stroud in that game. Now I understand Patrick Mahomes gets a lot of calls, but so did the Patriots. People hate dynasties in the time and when they're winning. Like, the Patriots are one of the most hated dynasties, and people love them now because it's over. When this is over, when Patrick Mahomes retires, people actually be sad when Mahomes retires. Aside from the AFC West fans, like the Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos, because they probably won't win the division while Mahomes is healthy and playing, and maybe the Ravens and Bills fans if they're never able to beat the Chiefs, most fans would be sad when Patrick Mahomes retires. Most fans were sad when Brady retired. Like, Brady got a lot of hate too because the Patriots were a dynasty and they were winning. But then after it was over, after he left, the conversations were a lot different. It's like a lot of people love Tom Brady now. They talk about how great the Patriots dynasty was. Like, it's the same in the NBA. Like, before the Warriors had Kevin Durant, they went 73-9 and beat LeBron. Nobody was expecting that. And not 73-9. That was that next season. They had 67 wins that season, and they lost a 73-9 season because they moved a 3-1 lead. But they had 67 wins, and they beat LeBron in the finals. Nobody was expecting that. Nobody was expecting Steph Curry to be the first unanimous MVP. Then when Kevin Durant got there, it was like, well, they doing everything to stop LeBron, this and that. They already beat him, but because they went to go out and build a super team, like it had been, like it hadn't been done before. Like LeBron did it with the Heat in 2011. The KG did it going to the Celtics. It's funny. Wilt did it back in the '60s going to the Lakers. Like super teams have been around since the '60s. Like people didn't really say LeBron and Kevin Durant joined other teams to get to win because the ultimate goal is to win a championship. So, like people hated the Heat when they were winning, but after they after that era was over and LeBron went back to the Cavs, people they talk about how great it was when the Heat were winning, when they were in the finals all the time. Same with the Warriors. Now that they haven't won since 2022, and they won without Kevin Durant, there was so much praise. Like Steph was top 10, he done won without Kevin Durant. Like he had already did that before. I don't know why the conversation changes now. Now that they win before he gets there, when he gets there, and after he gets there, people talk about how great the dynasty was after it's over. That's the only problem Mahomes has ran into. Like Patrick Mahomes is a phenomenal quarterback, and he's an all-time great for a reason. He steps up when it comes to the playoffs. He might have struggled in the regular season, but he still makes the game-winning plays. He makes the big-time throws. So it's hard to take that away from Patrick Mahomes. And if you are taking that away from Patrick Mahomes, I don't see on understand watching when it comes to football. But that's all I had to say on that for Patrick Mahomes, a phenomenal quarterback. As an Eagles fan, I am nervous going into a second Super Bowl against the Chiefs because there's a lot of numbers that can support both teams. But I'm gonna do my preview next week. But let's get into the NBA trade deadline preview. Now, the Orlando Magic, they just lost a game to the Portland Trail Blazers recently, and they've been struggling as of late. Even with Franz being back, you got Franz and Paulo, but you still got Jalen Suggs, who's out, who's one of your best perimeter defenders, so that definitely hurts. I think the Magic should target Anthony Simons. I don't think you have to give up nothing major to get him. I think you can trade off a few salaries, give up some second round picks. If I can find a trade that I put together for it, because I did put together a good trade. I put together a trade for the Trailblazers and the Magic. I'm trying to find it. I bear with me. Because let me find this Anthony Simons trade that I came up with. So if the money matches, you could send Gogo Badase, Cole Anthony, Corey Joseph, and 2 second round picks to the Trailblazers to get Anthony Simons. That way you keep Jalen Suggs and KCP, but now you still have that shooting that you wanted in the offseason. You still got the defense that you need from Jalen Suggs, and then you get Anthony Simons, who's instant spark, who's he's instantly scoring. Like that's what you need. You need a point guard that can score, and you're able to keep those two and bring in that. Like that Magic team is going to be dangerous for the next few years. So the Magic, y'all should be targeting Anthony Simons at this upcoming trade deadline. And then Portland should just sell in general. Like Anthony Simons got to go. Robert Williams got to go. Maybe keep DeAndre Ayton because we're gonna get to him later in the show. But I think you got to sell specifically get rid of Anthony Simons and Robert Williams because they're helping you win some games. Like the Trailblazers have 18 wins on the season. They're not supposed to be this good right now. Like even though 18 wins is not good, but for a team like Portland, who's supposed to be the second worst team in the West, maybe even the worst, they shouldn't have as many wins as they do. Now, Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler, I don't really know what you do with that. Now, because the thing is, Bradley Beal has to uh, he has a no trade clause, so he has the power to control where he goes to. So it's not really realistic that the Suns get Jimmy Butler. I mean, if they did, I don't know how much things would change because you're going to give up more than Bradley Beal. It'll probably have to be a 3 or 4 team trade, and you're going to have to give up some more. And then that fan that was heckling Bradley Beal's wife and his kids, That's just weird. I don't know why fans do that. That's not okay in any form, any way. That's just weird behavior. Even WWE superstar Oscar, she said she don't feel safe because this guy been stalking her. Some of y'all fans aren't really fans. Y'all are just weirdos and creeps. That's just not okay. But yeah, Bradley Beal, Jimmy Butler, I don't really know where they go. Like I could see Pat Riley just being messy and trading, uh, not messy, but being toxic or something like that, and just trade Jimmy Butler to wherever. Like Jimmy Butler end up on like the Jazz or something, because he don't have a no trade clause, so he can ask for his release and they'll probably grant it. Then he can go wherever he want to. But I could see Pat Riley doing something like that. The Lakers and Warriors need to target uh, Nikola Vucevic, Robert Williams, and Jonas Valanciunas. Like those are three guys that the Lakers and Warriors should be aiming for. Obviously, AD is out with an injury right now, but you still need a big because Jackson Hayes isn't cutting it. And then the Warriors, obviously, they got a new center Post, who's a rookie, but he's been pretty solid. But I still think you need size because I don't know how good his defense is. I haven't watched too many Warriors games since Post has been starting, so I'm gonna definitely have to get back on the Warriors games because I was reacting to them a lot early in the season. But watching them a lot early in the season, so I'm gonna have to start watching them some more with this Post dude starting. But yeah, I think uh, Robert Williams, Jonas Valanciunas, and Nikola Vucevic, they should all be on the Lakers and Warriors radar. That both of them need to walk away with at least one of those centers. With yeah, they don't need both. Don't need two of those three, but they need one. Both of them need to be going after that. And then since the Heat lowered their asking price for Jimmy Butler, I can see the Warriors going after Jimmy Butler and not getting the big. And that'll have the Lakers did give you plenty of options to go after somebody. I still think OKC should target Cam Johnson and Nick Claxton in front of the Nets. The Nets should fail. There's no reason for them to try to keep winning this year. Like you're at the point right now where you should just be tanking to try to get a pick to get Cooper Flag. Because even if you get to the play-in, you're not going to go anywhere if you are uh, good enough to get some wins to go there. But Nick Claxton, Nick Claxton and Cam Johnson would be great for OKC because Cam Johnson, really solid defender. He can get to the basket. He can score. Nick Claxton, shot blocker, can get rebounds. That's what they need. Now, De'Aaron Fox, the fact that the Kings want to trade him and now that they're rolling, that's surprising me. But either the Spurs or the Rockets, I think those two teams would be perfect for De'Aaron Fox. Either the Spurs or the Rockets. But yeah, let's talk about the NBA All-Star reserves. Now, you see I got the Raptors jersey on. I got the Trae Young jersey back there behind me. Got the Darius Garland jersey over there. I think that Darius Garland deserved it first off. So shout out to Darius Garland. Now the Eastern Conference All-Star reserves. Cade Cunningham, Pascal Siakam, Tyler Hero, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Damian Lillard, and Jaylen Brown. That's the East. So let's break this down. Out of those 7 names that are listed off, I think 5 of those names deserve to be All-Stars. Cade Cunningham has had a phenomenal season, leading the Pistons to one of their best seasons in recent memory. Got them in the play-in, as I predicted early in the season. I predicted it preseason that they'd be a play-in team. He's averaging 25 points. He's putting up double-digit assist games, averaging 9 assists per game. His playmaking has developed, and he's been really great this year. Cade Cunningham most definitely deserves to be an All-Star. Now, Darius Garland has had a solid season. Been pretty good. I have no complaints here. Shout out to Darius Garland getting his second All-Star. The Cavs are also first in the East, so I'm not surprised they got multiple All-Stars because Evan Mobley also made it. A really great defender, going to be all NBA first team when it comes to defense. All defensive first team, I should say. So Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, I'm fine with them two making it along with Cade. Damian Lillard, well deserved, having a great season. The Bucks started slow, but Dame, he's been great all year. Had a few stinkers, but everybody does. It's the NBA, so he deserves it. Jaylen Brown, I don't know why he gets so much hate. Him and Tatum. Like I know they play for the Celtics, but they get a lot of unnecessary hate. Jaylen Brown most definitely deserves to be an All-Star. So that's a 5 out of 7. Where we have a problem is Pascal Siakam and Tyler Hero. Now, Pascal Siakam has been solid this year. I'm not taking that away from him. And the Pacers are having a good season. They didn't pick it up from how they started early on in the year. They done got back up to top five in the East. So shout out to him because he's been having to pick up a lot of Tyrese Halliburton slack. But I do think that R.J. Barrett and Scotty Barnes have been better, if not better. You can say they've been in the same realm. Like I feel like Pascal, R.J. Barrett, and Scotty, they're all in the same realm of players. So it's like you say Pascal deserved it more. I'm not too mad at that, but it's like a slight issue because I think R.J. Barrett has been better this season than Pascal, and I think he should have been an All Star over him. And I think the games, and I think pretty sure RJ played 39 games. Siakam played 45. So it's like a 6 game difference. But I do think RJ Barrett has been better this season. So, but it's not like a major issue. But the major issue is when it comes to Tyler Hero, because he's been good this season and the Heat have struggled. But the Hawks aren't that too far off. Like people say, well, it's because of team success why certain players can make it. The Heat haven't been that great this season. A lot of the teams in the East have been pretty mediocre. It's Trae Young, LaMelo Ball, and Tyrese Maxey all have better cases than Tyler Hero, in my opinion. Like LaMelo, he's averaging 28 points per game. He his playmaking has been really great this year, and it's like the Hornets situation is terrible, so you can't. So you really faulting LaMelo for being in a terrible situation. And I seen a tweet that was like, LaMelo Ball vest with Miles Bridges, Terry Rozier, and Gordon Hayward. That's disgusting. That's a disgusting lineup of vests to have with you. That's like LaMelo's been phenomenal this season, and he didn't make it for Tyler Hero. Or if you don't want to put LaMelo in there, why not Tyrese Maxey? He's took a jump. He's a better defender than Tyler Hero. He's a better playmaker, I would say. He's definitely a better scorer. And he's been leading the 76ers. Like they might have only have 19 wins, but he's had to deal with Joel Embiid being out, Paul George being out and being bad. They just played the Nuggets last night, and Yershon Yabusele took a terrible shot to end the game when he should have got the ball to Tyrese Maxey. So it's like, yeah, he had problems too. But Khalil Ware, he's been pretty solid recently. Bam, he's had his games here and there. He's had stretches. He ain't been great. He's had better seasons than this one for sure. Jimmy Butler was also there, so that helps to the Heat's success this season. Like he might not have been there every game, but we can't act like Tyler Hero is the main reason why the Heat have been a mediocre team this season. Because that's what they've been. Because like when I hear team record, it's like, well, most of these teams in the East are mediocre. And then Trae Young, he's leading the NBA in assists. He's putting up 20-point, 10 assist games all the time. So for him not to make the All-Star team, like he didn't make it last year, but he ended up being a reserve. So he ultimately did make it. But it's like, it's kind of crazy because it's been 3 seasons where Trae Young just straight out didn't make it, and this is the third one. But for the Western Conference All-Stars, I have no complaints. Anthony Davis, well deserved, been leading the Lakers to wins. You could argue that AD's been our best player this year. He's definitely been our best player this year. Wemby, obviously he deserved it. Phenomenal talent, generational talent. He should have been starting over LeBron, if we're being honest. James Harden. I mean, I would have liked to see Norman Powell get in because I figured they wouldn't pick 2 Clippers, but I did want to see Norman Powell make it because he's been so good this season. But James Harden's been great as well. Shout out both of them leading the Clippers to an unexpectedly good season. Like I wasn't expecting them to be as good as they are this year. Like they could move up to the 5 seed, maybe even 4. Like they keep playing like this. Anthony Edwards, well deserved. Obviously the Timberwolves struggled early on, but Anthony Edwards, he's been great this year, and he definitely deserves it. Alfred Sengun, with how good the Rockets been playing as a 2 seed, they were getting the All-Star, and I knew it's gonna be Sengun. Like he really deserves this moment. I'm glad he's got it, becoming a double-double machine. And people gonna know his name real soon. Like I think Sengun could become a household name. Jalen Williams, aka J Love from OKC. A lot of people had a problem with this. Uh, he's he's an all-star caliber player. Like to say he's just a role player, other guys deserve more than him. I think that's disrespectful because Jalen Williams been really great this season. He's averaging around 21, 5-5. OKC is the first seed. He's their second best player right now. Obviously, with Chet being out, he's stepped up. He even had to play center because Chet has been out and Hardenstein was out at one point as well. So it's like Jada, he fits in wherever you need him to. He's a really great defender. He can do it all. I love his versatility. So J-Dub, he deserves this moment. And then Jaren Jackson Jr., a lot of people have questions about this. But what about Ja? The best ability is availability. And Jaren Jackson Jr. has been available most of the season. He's gonna be all defense. He's probably gonna be runner up for defensive player of the year till Wemby at the end of the season. Like the defense is phenomenal. Obviously the rebounding could improve. You would like that to improve. But he's been leading the Grizzlies to wins. They're the third seed right now. He just sealed the deal against the Rockets the other night when Fred VanVleet tried to rub sweat on his hands. So shout out to Jaren Jackson Jr. and the West All-Star reserves I have no problem with. I do wish Norman Powell would have made it, but it just sucks. Maybe next year, maybe not. But Norman Powell been having a good season, so shout out to him. Now, like I said, there was some WNBA moves made, and we got to talk about the significance of each and every one of them. Well, the most recent one was the Phoenix Mercury got Sky Harris and Alyssa Thomas, as the Suns got Natasha Cloud, Rebecca Allen, and the 12th pick. Both teams need a change because the Mercury, they lost in the first round, and they just lost Brittany Griner, so they had to make some changes. Then the Suns, they lost to the Lynx in the second round in the series that they were favored in. So I think I look at it as a win-win because they both needed to make moves. They both needed to improve the roster in different ways. Now the Suns get the 12th pick, and they could probably get some. Then I'm gonna be doing a mock draft next week, and probably another book review next week too. So make sure you tune in next week because I'll be talking about what the Mercury and. But I think the Mercury improved for sure with this pick. Alyssa Thomas, one of the best all-around players in the league. So he definitely improved there. And Ty Harris, he could be solid coming off the bench. Then, like I said, for the Sun, getting Natasha Cloud, Rebecca Allen, 12th pick, it's going to be some solid players at the end of the first round for the WNBA. So I think that's a good move. And then some of this other stuff that I dropped shorts about already, about Brittany Griner getting going to the Atlanta Dream on a one-year deal. That's great for Atlanta, a team that barely got into the playoffs on some injury luck. And now they can be really solid adding Brittany Griner to the equation, and they haven't lost nobody significant, at least not yet. So they keep that same roster last year and just insert Brittany Griner into the equation, then that team is going to be a solid team. They could be top 5, top 6. That's how impactful Brittany Griner is and will be. The Sparks getting the 9th pick in Kelsey Plum. It helps with the depth. You're gonna get a solid player with that 9th pick. Then Kelsey Plum, she's a great player. She was just the Aces' second best player last year. Automatically comes to the Sparks as their best player in the league guard, which is something that they needed. And then she's gonna add, she's gonna make the other girls around her better for sure. The Aces getting the 13th pick, I think they can do something solid with it to start the second round. But the trade to just get Dwell Lloyd, like it doesn't really change anything. Like this team, they lost ended up losing in the semifinals. I think you still losing the semifinals again, or they lost to the Liberty. You still lose to the Liberty even if you just swap those two. And then the Seattle Storm moving up to the 2nd pick. It's just that for future great, and then getting Leach, Terrell, like it makes sense. So it sets them up perfectly for the future. So I think a lot of these moves really made sense, really aside from the Aces, because I don't think it really changes anything. But the Storm are planning for the future, so it makes a lot of sense. The Sparks, they're looking to improve their roster as fast as possible after the terrible season they had, big market. They don't want a bad team in a big market. They don't make fans happy. The Dream, getting Brittany Griner, just got to the playoffs, add up on their success. Mercury and the Suns, they both lost earlier than they wanted to. Make some moves, even if it's with each other, to move some pieces around. And then you can have solid seasons, and maybe y'all the two teams that meet up in the finals next year. Now we got I ain't talked about hockey in a minute, but it's the NHL stuff I wanted to cover. Then I wrote these stats down yesterday, so the games that happened last night, they don't play a factor into these stats for today. But I think I'm starting from the bottom up. Quinn Hughes, defenseman, he leads all defensemen with 58 points. And then he's third in goals with 14, and he's first in assists with 44. Has Vancouver. They're 5th in the Pacific right now. Like I said, I only watched one hockey game last night, so this is as of yesterday, as of Friday afternoon when I was writing this down. So like I said, Quinn Hughes, he's been really good and she'll be in the MVP discussion, been the best defenseman in the league. Now Vancouver being fifth in the Pacific, that's gonna hurt them because they definitely gonna have to be a playoff team for him to get that recognition. But I think he's been really solid, so I had to shout him out and give him his recognition. Leon Draskell, second of second in points, first in goals, and ninth in assists. The Oilers are first in the Pacific. He's top 10 in all three in points, goals, and assists. Like that really helps his case being top 10 in the three most important stats. And then the team is first in the Pacific, having a lot of success this year. Like he definitely has a case for MVP. Nathan McKinnon, goalie for the Avalanche, who are fourth in the Central, 78 goals with 78 points, which is first, 59 goals, which is first. So not only is he scoring a lot, like a lot of his points are coming from goals. Like he's not getting them like the assists. He's still getting the assists, but he's getting a lot of goals himself and leading this Avalanche to fourth in the Central. Like if they keep moving up, if they keep winning, then it's gonna be hard to not have him in the MVP race. But Connor Hellebuyck, but Connor Hill Connor Hellebuyck, goalie, he's first in save percentage, tied for second in no he's averages two goals against average, so he only gives up 2 goals a game, which is first in the league. 92.7 save percentage, tied with in second, tied with two other people for first. And then he has 6 shutouts on the year, and Winnipeg is first in the Central. So you got 2 people from the Central Division, 2 people from the Pacific. These are the 4 guys fighting for MVP. But in my opinion, and I think Connor, he's been the best this season, especially for his role, for his position. Like I could see him getting the MVP. Like all the stats are there to support him. Now Quinn Hughes, defenseman, he has the stats as well, but being fifth doesn't help. And then Leon, he has a great case, especially being top 10 and everything. And then Nathan, what's hurting him is that the Avalanche are fourth in the Central, like I said. Now to talk about some pro volleyball, the Rise. Over the past week, the Rise defeated the Valkyries in 5 sets as Carly Sender had a really great week, and Erica Pritchard went crazy in that game. Shout out to Carly Sender, who we're gonna be getting to later in the show. Now the Valkyries are now 6-0 in the first sets of their game, but they have a 2-4 overall record. So they get off to a strong start, but they finish really bad. Like they start off strong, and then how they finish has just been terrible. So they're already off to a slow start, being 2-4, yet they've won the first set of every game. So it's like things have to change because you're not able to adjust when it comes to those other sets, from sets 2 to 5 when it does go that long. The Rise are now 3-3 after that win, but Carly Sender has been on fire recently, and I think they can make a push and win the next couple of games. They could go on a winning streak if Carly keeps playing the way that she is. The Vibe performed too, the 67 win percentage. They've been really fun this season. The San Diego Mojo also 3-3, just a 500 team. The Columbus Fury are now 0-6. Like they haven't won a game yet, which that's crazy. Like every team has at least 2 wins on the season, or yeah. So they got to pick it up. The Columbus Fury got to pick it up, and I mean soon, because they're already behind 2 games for the second worst record. Like they're already on 6, and they just haven't been able to win yet. So I don't know what's going on, but man, the Indy Ignited now 3-2 after falling to the Thrill in a 5-set game. Then the Thrill are now 4-2 after that game. So they've been pretty solid this season. Then Cooper Reagan led Omaha to a win against the Fury. and Omaha's now 4-2. And I watched that game. Then like Columbus, they just look bad. Like they cannot. They end up getting swept 3-0 in that game. Like it was really no. They didn't have no chance. So it's like things got to change. The hitting isn't good. Like nothing is really good for them right now. So I don't know what's really going on with Columbus. They got to make some changes. We'll check in next week to see if things can change. But yeah, like I said, Super Bowl preview next week. WNBA mock draft part 3 next week. Book review is another sports book I've been reading. I'm gonna do a book review for that next week. I think I'm doing it on Sunday. But no, I'm doing it on Saturday. I'm gonna do it on Saturday still. So those are the 3 main topics I got planned for next week. Super Bowl preview, book review, uh WNBA mock draft. I'm gonna check back in to see, let y'all know. I'm gonna drop the short on it, let y'all know Columbus finally got a win by the time of what's today's date. Today is February 1st. So from February 1st to February 8th, if they don't have a win, and we're gonna have some discussions. We're gonna have some uncomfortable conversations. So Columbus Fury, if y'all are hearing me, get a win. Y'all are 0-6. Y'all are already down. Y'all already behind 2 games to the second worst team, who is 2-4. Even the team that starts off as even the Valkyries, who are 6-0 in the first sets and don't win many games, they're still 2-4. So Columbus, go win a game in this next week. And if y'all don't, we're gonna have some uncomfortable conversations. But man, it's been an episode. Now for the final segment of the show, athletes of the week. For the NFL on Jalen Hurts, 20 of 28 in the championship game, passing for 246 yards, 4 total touchdowns, 3 of them were rushing touchdowns, and a 55-23 win over the Commanders, basically ending the game in the third quarter. A phenomenal game from Jalen Hurts. Shout out to him. I gave it to Saquon the other 2 weeks, I think. Or if I didn't, I definitely said that he was the best Eagles player the other 2 weeks. Jalen Hurts was our best player in that game against the Commanders. So, phenomenal week, like I said. For the Pro Volleyball Federation, Carly Sender, because before the game they had the other night against before the Rise game against the Valkyries in the last week, she had 17 kills, 22 points, and 3 aces. Then in the game against the Valkyries, she had 3 aces, 12 kills, 2 blocks, and 18 digs. What a game. For WWE, I went with Naomi. She just beat Liv Morgan on SmackDown last night. Her and Bianca beat Lash Legend and Jakar Jackson in a fun tag team match. They also lost to Liv Morgan and Raquel on Raw on the fun tag team match. So putting on really consistent and good tag team matches back-to-back nights, and then wrestling a one-on-one match, going 2-1 this week, wrestling on all 3 brands, and then she's gonna be in the Royal Rumble tonight. So is Bianca. So Bianca and Naomi would have wrestled 4 times in 1 week. So shout out to both of them. Just been workhorses for the women's division. So is Bailey as well. But I had to give it to Naomi for this week. For TNA, I usually pick somebody who I think had a really good match. So I was thinking Wes Lee, because he went to NXT and TNA, had 2 good matches. But I ended up changing my mind and going with Eric Young because of the plot twist that he applied at the end in his match. We thought he was going to team with Josh Alexander to take on the Northern Armory. Because Steve Macklin, he was warning him, he was like, I'm not staying for none of this, I'm gone. So Steve Macklin dips. Eric Young, he goes out there to team with Josh Alexander later in the night. Then he turned Josh Alexander, he's getting dominated most of the match. He tagged in Eric Young, and Eric Young turns on him. I'm like, man, like, then he's telling the Northern Armory what to do, then they stand tall after that. So, like, just because of that plot twist alone, yeah, Eric Young, this is your award this week. You get the athlete of the week for TNA this week, because I was not expecting that. For AEW, I went with Ricochet. Now, shout out to AR Fox, because he's put on 2 good matches the last 2 weeks with Swerve and Ricochet. So, and he lost both of them, unfortunately. I wish one of the other could have interfered so AR Fox could have got a win, but it's fine. But Ricochet, he put on a good match. And he's trying to be like threatening. He's trying to be dominant, holding him with the scissors, using AR Fox for protection. So Swerve won't attack him because Swerve and AR Fox, even though after their long history, they shook hands last week. And then now Swerve noted he can't risk hurting AR Fox and trying to get back to Ricochet. So shout out to Ricochet. For the NBA, I went with DeAndre Ayton. He had a game of 21 points and 14 rebounds. Then another game of 22 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 steals on 10 and 12 field goal shooting. And the Blazers to beat the Bucks and Magic on back-to-back games. And they won the last couple of games in a row. And DeAndre Ayton, he's been really impactful. He's been really good. So I can't take that away from him. He's been, like I said, shout out to DeAndre Ayton. He had a great week for Portland. For the NHL, I'm with Tage Thompson. The Sabres went 2-0 this week. He had a plus-minus of +8 in those 2 games. 5 total points, 2 total assists, and 3 goals. A great week. And then this week I started getting back to watching some hockey games, so that's going to continue. Going to be getting some more hockey content, maybe some shorts here and there. For the PBA, I went with Andrew Anderson. Heading into round 3, he had a plus 560. By far and away first in the bracket for the PBA US Open over the last week. So he's definitely going. I'll be surprised if he's not in that final 8 that make it, or however many it is. So yeah, shout out to Andrew Anderson. Then for New Japan Pro, I went with Zack Sabre Jr. He just won a tag team match on the final show for a Road to the New Beginning. And then he had a lot of momentum in the Road to the New Beginning because he went 3-0 in that series. And I didn't talk about it last week, even though it started on the 22nd and just concluded on the 30th. I just wanted to wait till that was concluded because of the whole series and the bracket style. But Zack Sabre Jr. going 3-0 and being able to pick up the win and pick up all wins in 2 1-on-1 matches in a 6-man tag team match. So shout out to Zack Sabre Jr. We're just gonna wrap this up for Weekly Sports Talk with Ed, episode 31. Like I said, got some big stuff planned for next week. I'm excited for it. Make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you tune in because I'm going live every Saturday at 12 p.m. Central to record the podcast. Only week some weeks I might go live on Sundays. It just depends on if it's a big game or or if I have something else planned, like I have a different live plan that's coming up. But that's gonna wrap it up. So peace out.